Ladies and gentlemen, we're back for more. Listen, we're not taking any days off here on Sportswire Radio. It might be Memorial Day in America, but listen, I don't take a break for nothing. We go 24/7, 365 here because I'm excited because we have one of our guests for the first time coming on here to Sportswire Radio. And he is definitely, let me put it to you this way. This is how excited I am. He is definitely a 21st century visionary. He is really one of the premier pro wrestlers around. He is somebody we know very well. We have spoken about him in the past, obviously, because of our very dear friend who I have gone on the record says one of the best guests or the best guest in Sportswire Radio history. That is the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera. He is his tag team partner in Phenomenally Elite Wrestling. He has also been somebody you've heard of quite a bit of late here when it comes to FTGU. Also, Wrestle Island, most strongly, because we're going to get into that because a very, very dear friend of ours, he had a very, very interesting situation with, I could say, the Wrestle Island Rumble. But we're going to definitely get into his story, plus much, much more here. So, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, the number one global sports show, pro wrestling star here, and the real Chocolate Thunder, Daryl Dawkins only wishes he could be half of who he is. So without further ado, I give you Chocolate Thunder. My friend, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for that amazing introduction. Yeah, I'm very well. It's just gone 8:30 here in the UK, so yeah, having a really good evening.
Now, is it 8? Because I always curious about on a Monday. It's different, when I'm on the air Fridays with like Lance Rivera, it's Friday night, right? But a Monday night in the UK, because right now it's about 3:40 New York here time. So it's about 8:40. I mean, for you, you watch Chocolate Thunder. I realize Chocolate Thunder, it's always a party. You're always definitely got all the ladies. You're always, I'm sure, in the middle of something. But it's like, how do you feel on an 8:40 evening on a Monday in the UK? How do you feel normally?
Well, as you say, I'm a 24/7 kind of guy, so wired, always switched on, always thinking, always got something on the go. It's just any other day for me. People say they're not Monday, then they don't like Mondays. I love Mondays. I love Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Every day is a good day when you're me.
That's true. Well, listen, and I would think it's definitely a good day for us here on Sports by Radio because we have the pleasure to be joined by you. And certainly it was quite an eventful weekend here. And I'll get to Wrestle Island definitely in a second. There's a lot to get into with that, a lot to unpack. It was kind of the weekend that was for you and certainly your tag team partner in Phenomenally Elite Wrestling. That is, of course, the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera. But I want to set the tables for FTGU because obviously that's a company that's near and dear to you in terms of your background, your upbringing. And I know that you wrestled also there this past Friday. So talk about that. You also tag team with Victor Snow and set the tables for us on Friday's match that was for you at FTGU.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, FTGU is the promotion that I started with. They've been around since 2018. I've done pretty much every show that they've done. I think I've only missed one show, which I ended up doing ring announcing for. But
wow,
yeah, so I'm a jack of all trades. I can do anything. Really.
That used to be my Twitter, by the way. So always say I'm a jack of all trades. So I knew I liked you from the beginning.
I'll make sure not to use that then.
I changed it like ages ago, so you can have it by all means. You're a pro wrestling star. I'm not, so keep it.
No, but yeah, it's a promotion that's close to my heart, and it's my local promotion as well. It's where I train, so yeah, really, it's my main hometown promotion. As you mentioned, I had a match on Friday, which was for the FTGU tag team titles, which I lost last year. So I was really hell bent on getting those back. I teamed with obviously Victor Snow, very aggressive and interesting character.
I saw. Very well aware of Mr. Snow.
Yes, yeah, he's an interesting man. He's from Victorian England, so yeah, that give you a scope of what the guy's like. But yeah, we came up against the tag team champions, who are called your measuring stick, which is basically a team made up of Riley Measures and your boy Jeffrey Dickinson, the most gangster boy in the whole of Leicestershire.
He's the new
And
Jack of Leicestershire, then, pretty much.
oh yeah, he's super, but he's super over as well. And yeah, we as I said, we trained with these guys, so we all knew each other. And unfortunately, we didn't come out on top. So yeah, it wasn't a great night, but the show went really well. So yeah.
Let me ask you a question, because obviously I want to go back and talk about FTGU, and I promise everybody I'll get to Wrestle Island. We'll have a lot to get into with Chocolate Thunder. We want to get into the story. We'll do all that here over the next little while here on Sportswire Radio. But to be able to be a part of a company that has been around now for a little while, and to be able to go back and to participate in all these, because again, you're a very successful wrestler. I mean, we spoke about you in the past, obviously with Lance. I mean, what is that for you like in consistently seeing a company grow, and for your journey also evolving at the same time? What does that mean to you?
It's so amazing. Like I said, it is today. That was where Chocolate Thunder was born, at FTGU. It was a character that I just pretty much came up with off the cuff. That's went from um, just like a promo that I cut to this full blown character who, as you say, is making all these promotions at Wrestle Island and other ones around the country. But at the same time as well, FTGU, it went from being this school that broke away from another school to doing these shows like around like my local area. And as I said, I'll always rep the school, and I'll always rep the guys and girls that come here and train with us and be on our shows. They're so talented, and the coach there, whose name is Gareth Harris, has such an amazing knowledge in like pro wrestling and just putting together matches and just psychology. And it is just second to none, really. And we sell out, like the majority of our shows are all sellouts, and everyone who comes there tells us how well we do and how much they love us. And it's just really good to see how far it's come from like when we started to where we are now. And yeah, it's incredible, really.
No question about that. And of course, if you like what you hear from FTGU, I want to make sure everybody follows them on Instagram. That is FTGU Events. So you can find out why family friendly wrestling, FTGU does a very, very good job at that here. So, I mean, speaking about the match, obviously you guys do come up short. I mean, so where do we go from here next when it comes to you and FTGU? Because obviously you wanted to get those tag team championships back. We thought you had a very good shot at doing that. But I mean, what does the future look like for Chocolate Thunder and FTGU now going forward?
Well, pretty much I'm looking at a singles run. I mean, I split with my tag team partner last year when we lost the belts, my original tag team partner. So I've been rolling around doing singles since then. Obviously, the opportunity came to go for the tag titles, which unfortunately didn't pay off. So I guess I'm just gunning for a good singles run, and maybe, just maybe, if I get the opportunity, get a shot at the World FTGU World Title.
Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, certainly the fact that Chocolate Thunder could be having gold here once again, and maybe that's what it was. You know what, Chocolate Thunder, maybe the time should have been that you should be going to be a singles wrestler, because, ladies and gentlemen, look at this man here. He looks like a man that should have gold. Look at what he brings to the table. Look at what he's done in wrestling. The guy's a visionary. The guy clearly should have gold. He's a good-looking guy. He's a great wrestler. He clearly should have gold. I mean, maybe that should have been the plan all along. And I know you were doing the right thing and trying to get those tag team championships back, but Chocolate Thunder, maybe the plan was from the get-go should have been, you know what? I need to focus in getting onto singles gold, because you really are a singles star anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough to have an opportunity last year to have a shot at the FTGU World Title, and again, unfortunately, I came out second best. But it just gave me a hunger to I just want more. And like you say, I'm Chocolate Thunder. I'm the only man who can make a title belt look good. Doesn't matter who you put the belt on. It could be anybody.
Could be H
I'll make it
Hood,
look
could
good.
be CK Light. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Listen, you can beat them. You can beat them. I mean, listen. I mean, at the end of the day, the current champion. Listen, seeing the way you are right now, I mean, I could definitely see you holding that world championship in the near and distant future.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. H-Hood's my boy. Like, hey, me and H-Hood go way back. And I'll always back him. He'll always be my boy, no matter what happens. But if there's a belt on the line, business first.
Hey,
I'm going to
listen,
take the
that's how it goes
opportunity.
in wrestling. Listen, you
Exactly.
know it, and I know it. In wrestling, it's about gold. I mean, yes, friendships are important, but you know what? Gold at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're brothers, if it doesn't matter if you're sisters, it doesn't matter if you came in together. Everybody's there for one common goal, and that is to win gold. And something tells me here that Chocolate Thunder is going to have gold again here in the near and distant future. And certainly, again, we could certainly see why everybody follows FTGU here. And I'll get to Wrestle Island here in a few minutes. But I mean, for those that are watching and listening to you for the first time, I always like to ask this question to different wrestlers that we haven't had on. I mean, how did you want to go into the business of being a professional wrestler and going into this crazy business?
Well, I guess the journey started when I would obviously watch it when I was a kid. I grew up in like the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars, which was a
Oh, yes.
amazing time to be
So did
watching
I.
wrestling. Oh yeah, I'd remember I'd watch Nitro because it'd be shown on a Friday here in the UK. It'd be taped, and then straight after that, I'd flick the channel and I'd been on watching Raw. Like Friday nights were the best nights. And I just remember watching it going, man, if I get an opportunity to do this, I'd be so stoked. And I'll be honest, it took quite a long time since then, because I just struggled to find somewhere to train.
Mm.
Uh, but eventually I found FTGU. I managed to find a character as well because I'll be honest, I was a bit unsure about what to do. But
Really? Why were
um,
you a bit unsure? I'm curious about that because most wrestlers I've had on here, they were like, I was born to be this way. I knew I was going to look like, and you struggled. Why did you struggle?
I guess I didn't. I know a lot of people say that their gimmick is very much an extension of their personality turned up to 11 or 200%.
Right. Right.
And I was looking for something unique that I could
Mm.
do, and I guess I was sort of couldn't find the right thing. But then eventually, as I said, I literally one day I cut a promo and I called myself Chocolate Thunder in training, and people just were like, "Whoa, you've got something." And then it was kind of like, "Oh, okay." So maybe I can make this alter ego my
Mm.
persona, and then it's just grown and grown and grown. And over time, I used to say to people, "Yeah, Chocolate Thunder's an alter ego. Is not nowhere near like me." But then as time has gone on, I'm kind of like, actually, he's a bit more like me than I think he is. There's a few things where in
Mm.
every day where I'll go, "Oh, that's a bit Chocolate Thunder. Why am I thinking like that?" So I guess that's why I struggled.
Well, almost in a sense, maybe after all, Chocolate Thunder was who you were deep down. It's kind of ironic as it seems after what you're telling me, which I'm still kind of surprised because looking at you and obviously getting to know you over the past several months and your work, I mean, you don't strike me as, especially somebody who's friends with the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera, you strike me as somebody who would definitely have never struggled with confidence or trying to figure out what they might be. I mean, Lance Rivera is like Lance Rivera in real life. He's
Oh
like
yeah.
1000% like Lance Rivera. So like I would have never thought that you would have even just struggled with figuring out who you would be.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we all have like difficulties, well, not difficulties, but like struggles, right? Like
Sure.
whether it being who you are or what you're supposed to be doing in life. Like I guess that's just how it is, and it's kind of it's like a Superman moment. So Clark Kent, he'll go into a phone booth, he'll come out and he's Superman with a cape. With me, it's like I stick the jacket on, the shades, and the hat, and like, okay, I'm on, let's do this, and then I go through the curtain and I switch it on. But as I said, more over time, I'm starting to think actually there's probably more of me in Chocolate Thunder than I really thought there was, and it's kind of like, oh, okay. maybe it didn't come from nowhere. Maybe it was meant to happen.
Well, I'll make you feel better. I'm obviously doing this 3.5 years, but I had no formal experience in this. I had no background in this until 3.5 years ago. Whereas a buddy of mine was a athlete here in America at the time, and a former athlete in high school. Said, "Well, we know so much about sports. We should just do a podcast." And I was like, "Okay." So I bought the equipment. And that was like before Zoom and before StreamYard. This was like before like the podcast craze. So I mean, in fact, I was approached to do it the year prior, but I was like, no, I had different life things. But so we're all struggling one way or another, and I almost got to make you chuckle. I mean, how many do people in the UK ever say, "Oh, well, do you know Daryl Dawkins was called Chocolate Thunder"? You ever get that here in the UK? Everybody, Daryl Dawkins, because he was like in America, he was this famous basketball player who used to.
I've heard of him. Yes.
So, do you ever get that a lot?
Not so much Daryl Dawkins. What I do get is, I think I think it was a Dr. Seuss film. He refers to himself as Chocolate Thunder, and I think Casey Payne. I don't know if you've had him on your show from Violent
No, I
Gentleman
haven't, but
Society.
I know. Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah, he said, "Oh yeah, that guy in the Dr. Seuss film calls himself Chocolate Thunder," and that's all I can think of when I think of your name. And I'm like, "Oh great." And I think one guy who was on WrestleMania referred to a guest host, I think, called himself Chocolate Thunder, and yeah, I think that's the only time I've heard it. But I've never heard it from related to Daryl Hawkins. But I'm aware of who he is because I remember I kind of Googled Chocolate Thunder because I was like, I hope no one else has got the name. Otherwise, like, oh man. But yeah, luckily, I think I was the only one. I think there might be someone else who does.
And what's so interesting about, and we'll move on here because I do want to get into phenomenally elite wrestling in a second. But what was so fascinating about Daryl Dawkins, kind of like you, was he really didn't lack confidence. I mean, I remember as a little kid hearing his interviews here in America, and he actually played basketball in Europe professionally. He actually played in Italy, and he had a long career. And he really was like Chocolate Thunder. I mean, he was kind of like really like he was probably more known for his off the court antics rather than his on the court. He was a guy that famously would like break the rims, which is a very hard thing to him and Shaquille O'Neal are the only two people to do. But that was the point. So you do kind of, in a way, look like a Chocolate Thunder, and that's why I want everybody to follow you. Most importantly, on Instagram, so you can do that on CHOCCY_Thunder. You can also follow Chocolate Thunder on Twitter as well. Make sure you do that because we want to make sure it's the same handle, which is CHOCCY_Thunder. Because trust me, this guy is definitely somebody that he's a 21st century visionary. How could you not want to follow somebody who's a visionary? And on Twitter, he's a little under 1,000 followers. So we have fans out there that can make sure that we get him out there to 1,000. But I want to get to Phenomenally Elite Wrestling first, because obviously I know that we had Lance Rivera on the last time. We were talking about you guys getting the tag team championship. So, I mean, we now get a chance to hear your side of the story and things. I mean, walk me through what happened at the last Phenomenally Elite Wrestling event with you and the Playboy Prince, Lance Rivera.
Well, obviously we were going for the tag team titles. I think we put in a solid effort. We matched them stride for stride. We were right in there with a shot of winning. And Lance has probably gone over this, but I'll go over it as well. We hit the rave machine, which is a finish we literally came up with on the fly. Hit the rave machine. Ref went for the count, and after he hit 2, he just seemed to slow down before he was going to hit the 3, and then all of a sudden the pin got broke. Now you tell me that there's not something funny about that.
So
the footage is on there.
We've done this before with Lance Rivera. He's been in another company, and there was some shenanigans. Let me put it that way. So normally you go like this. And I can't believe I'm doing this yet again on Sportswire Radio, but I'm going to do this again. You go 1, 2, 3, ding, ding, ding. So you're telling me 1, 2, and stopped.
Yeah.
Slowly went.
No, I was right there, right in front of me. I saw the ref just 1, 2. Oh, the pin's been broken. Oh dear, never mind. And the crazy thing is, Lance has been suspended because he supposedly assaulted the ring announcer. Now, again, I was there. I was in the ring with Lance and Stacy and Ben,
Dixie
who was
Rose,
the
yep.
ring announcer. Yeah, and as far as I know, Ben fell over his own 2 feet. Now you tell me how that's grounds for a suspension from a promotion because your MC was too clumsy to not to you didn't see where he was going. Tell
Now,
me how that's fair.
let's talk about that because this is yet again, and I can't believe I'm doing this again on Sportswire. This is another, seems like a referee problem. This seems to be for whatever reason, and again, I don't have the striped uniform on, right? So this is once again, this is the fifth or sixth time this has happened here on Sportswire Radio. And I'm glad that I started off here on the bat with Phenomenal Elite Wrestling here. So from what I understand, and we didn't really get a chance to cover this here with Lance because Lance has been a very busy man. He's in demand right now these days because now he's taken off and he was a superstar before, but he's even a bigger star now, obviously. We'll get into him and your situation in Wrestle Island in a second. But I mean, if you're a referee, and again, I can't believe I'm doing this yet again, but you're supposed to count 1, 2, 3 at a normal speed. Was there something you think maybe before the match that Lance had said or did? I mean, because he's suspended now from Phenomenal Elite Wrestling. Is there anything that you know of maybe to fix the outcome of the match here? Because if it was supposed to have been done normally, I'm speaking with you right now, Chocolate Thunder, and you do have gold around you, but yet you don't at the moment because of some unfortunate shenanigans there. I mean, was there anything that you knew about or anything that you thought might have been maybe made you think differently that something could go wrong in the ring that day?
Well, I mean, the tag team we faced, the Rebellion, I mean, the tag team champions, supposedly, their manager is supposedly part of the management at Phenomenal Elite Wrestling. No,
Mm.
I'm not insinuating anything. I'm just
Why did I
saying,
know? This is why I asked that question. Why did I know that I knew if I go 2 plus 2, it's going to equal 4 here? There was something
right?
here. So management. So again, going back to this as usual, management thinks and knows they know from their bottom line they want to keep the championship in house's hands with Rebellion. They know
Exactly.
that if Chocolate Thunder and the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera are champions, they can't control them. They're going to be the ones that are going to put the shine on themselves, and also at the same time in a different way than what we see in Phenomenally Elite Wrestling. So clearly here, this is not a phenomenal decision. Clearly here, we see that there is a predetermined outcome, that management wants to keep the status quo, that management feels comfortable with the Rebellion because they know that the Rebellion does what they want. That's to me what I'm seeing here. That's why I asked that question to you.
Yeah. Again, I'm not insinuating anything. I'm just stating the
Well, if you
facts.
listen, and I know you're
Yeah.
not, but I can certainly speculate because there's other companies we spoke with, and we've seen these situations happen. So what it seems to me that there was something that happened here that clearly was a determined outcome that the odds were stacked against you guys from the get-go. It's almost honestly, I hate to say this, but you and the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera were never going to walk out of there as tag team champions because there was a plan before then to make sure you guys were never going to hold those titles.
Yeah. I don't want to use the word screw job, but I'm kind of seeing parallels there. You know what I mean? It was, and I
Yeah, I
can't
think
say
this
too
is
much because
worse. I think this is worse. This is actually
yeah,
worse because you guys still work for the company.
yeah. Well, Lance has been suspended. They've not contacted me since the match, so
Mm.
but I can't say if I say too much, big trouble. So
Yeah, we
I'm
don't
just gonna
want you to
keep my
get in
mouth shut.
trouble. Last time
Yeah,
we had Lance Rivera on here, he did, certainly he had his certainly keg of worms open in Odyssey Pro Wrestling with the commentator there. So certainly I don't want to make it into another keg of worms for you. But what I am going to say, though, is that clearly there was a situation that arose at Phenomenal Elite Wrestling that definitely I think was unfair.
100% unfair. And again, I'm not gonna say too much because I don't want to get in trouble. And they've clearly got their favourites. But we were both not happy. We were furious, but we'll be back. We will be back. Lance will serve his suspension. I'm sure they'll ask me back at some point, and we will make sure people know about this injustice, and we will get our
Now,
reward.
let me ask you a question, because I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a second, and I'm not going to focus on you right now. I'm going to focus on Lance Rivera, because obviously Lance was on social media not too long ago, basically speaking about the situation here, that apparently it looks like he is going to come back to Phenomenal Elite Wrestling. I'm sure you're familiar with that Lance has basically gone on the air here, and he's spoken about the situation that happened, I believe, what you just referred to a few minutes ago with the ring announcer there, Ben Cecil. I'm pretty sure
Yes.
that's what we're speaking about here. So now that it seems like that Lance Rivera is going to return, that his suspension is going to be lifted from PEW. I mean, what is your thoughts on that in terms of where you and him go from here? Obviously, as I'm sure you're aware of, that there was some type of apology that we saw on social media here.
I mean, it was a very respectful apology as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the fact that he apologized to Ben for something that he didn't do, I mean, Ben should be eternally grateful for that. And I don't see why people are complaining. But to answer your question, we've got plans. Obviously, we've got Stacey as a manager. We've been in discussion. All three of us were at Wrestle Island, as I'm sure we'll get to.
We're definitely going to get to that in a few minutes for sure.
Yep. And we had a discussion about where we go for Phenomenal Elite Wrestling and how we go forward. Some people may have seen we did have a meeting with a certain individual called Chase Alexander.
Oh, sure. We know Chase Alexander very well.
Yep. After the show at Phenomenal Elite Wrestling, we met up and had a drink and some discussions. I won't say exactly what they were about, but yeah, there was some discussions there. And I'm sure next time we will at Phenomenal Elite Wrestling, they'll know why they shouldn't have underestimated us.
Well, we're going to certainly find out here. So certainly it looks like the Playboy Prince, Lance Rivera, will be returning here to action. And that certainly will involve our guest here with us on Sportswire Radio. That is Chocolate Thunder. He, of course, is the 21st century visionary here, pro wrestling star here for many different companies, including FTGU, where he comes from, his home company. Obviously, also Phenomenal Elite Wrestling. Also, great plug, FTGU events on Instagram as well. Also, Wrestle Island, which is, again, is a company we spoke about quite a bit on Sportswire Radio. And I am the host of the Sports Report, the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryson. If you like what you hear from us on Sportswire Radio, you can certainly give us a like on Facebook here on Sportswire Radio, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can listen to all of our great content on sportnarium.com/player. We have been joined in the past by the Playboy Prince, Lance Rivera, and now we get the good fortune to be able to speak with Chocolate Thunder, pro wrestling star here, and certainly looking forward to getting into his side of things here. So obviously, we've gotten a sense of what's going to happen here in Phenomenal Elite Wrestling. Lance Rivera is going to return. He's paid his fine. We're assuming you guys are going to be back in action. So we'll come back to Phenomenal Elite Wrestling later on. But I have to ask you about your side of things in Wrestle Island. I'll come back to Lance Rivera because I want to speak about you. And obviously, that rather, I guess, entertaining exchange at the Wrestle Island Rumble with somebody I'm sure you're aware of, I know very well, and that is the natural-born fighter, RP Davis. I mean, what happened there? Because I thought it seemed like you guys were going to team with each other and be the final two participants in that Wrestle Island Rumble. So I'm giving you the chance, before I get RPD back on in a few weeks, to tell us your side of the story about what happened here this past weekend.
So, yeah, it came as a shock to me as well. Me and RP have always been quite friendly backstage. He's actually said, you know what, Chuck, I'm a big fan of your work. And I was like, oh, wow, thanks.
Wow, okay.
Thanks. I'm a fan of yours too, RP. Like, yeah, let's do a collab sometime. And he's worn my glasses before. This is what blew my mind. He's worn my glasses before, and he said,
he doesn't
you know
wear
what,
glasses to people. He doesn't do that, RP.
Supposedly the guy used to be a boxer. I don't know. That's a rumor, but
well, apparently that's something been out there. Yeah, right.
yeah, what would I know? Yeah, I just wore my glasses, and he said nice things about me. So I thought, oh, okay, in this rumble, I could see him in the ring. Like, yeah, we could have a little exchange. We could team up, like you said, and we could take some people out. Then it's me and him, like a fair fight at the end. And yeah, he didn't seem to want to be my friend. I gave him my glasses. I just
Wait, you're telling me RPD, who's always looking for friends, didn't want to be friends with you? Let me get that straight.
no. No, I was friendly. Like literally, I could have hit him if I wanted to. He was right there in the middle of the ring.
I
I could
saw
have
the
chinned
footage.
him,
I saw that it's been all over social media.
right? And I was just like, no. He's a friend of mine. He's a fan. I'm gonna be nice. And he seemed a little stressed, so I was like, okay, take my glasses.
Mm.
Let me put them on you, and let's just have a moment. Let's just have a moment. And the crowd were like, "Whoa, this is cool, yeah!" And then RP shook my hand, and without saying anything, grabbed me by the back of the neck and threw me out of the ring. No, no explanation why. After all those nice things he said about me, all the nice things I said about him, and he just did that, and heart was broken,
Let's
absolutely
get.
broken.
Oh, I could certainly understand from your vantage point, and I'm sure I'll get to RPD's point aside of in a few weeks. But I mean, I got to bring up Twitter here because I thought this was a good line that I actually retweeted because I knew that we were going to bring you on here. And you said here, hey, Google, show me what betrayal looks like. And then we had the whole thing with you and RPD. I mean, I'm still speechless here. I mean, it looks like you guys are basically all getting ready. You're doing your moves. You're doing your usual stuff, and RPD looks like he's ready to be friends with you. And then all of a sudden, we see the throw out of the world, basically the elimination heard round all the world in all professional wrestling. It's not AEW Double or Nothing that people are talking about. It's about RPD and Chocolate Thunder about what happened. I mean, walk me through this.
As I said, yeah, I was excited to come out to the Rumble. I was number 28, so I fancy
You
my
had a good shot.
chances.
Was it
Like,
28? Law of Logics usually
yeah,
means like you're a really good shot at this.
exactly. Yeah, and it was a 30-man Rumble, so I thought, well, I've got a good shot here, guys. So I came out. The crowd got a great reception from the crowd. I was quite pleased with that, and I was psyched. I was ready to go. I was like, okay, let's do this. Got in the ring, smacked some fool out of the way. He was just like getting in my way. Did a little jiggle, swiveled the hips a little bit for the fans because they love a bit of chocolate thunder booty. Turn around. There was RP Davis, looking quite perplexed. As I said before, he seemed a little stressed out. So I just tried to, say, "Hey, what's up, man? Look, you just seem a bit stressed. Why don't you put my glasses on?" And the crowd were like, "Yeah, put his glasses on." So I took the glasses off very gently and nicely. Put the glasses on. RP. He actually flashed a smile. If you watch the footage, he
I
smiled.
did. I've seen it many, many times.
He smiled as he plunged the dagger into my back and threw me over the top rope without any explanation. And then he just threw the glasses back to me while I was on the floor. And I for the life of me, I don't know why. I mean, maybe he mistook me for someone else. I don't know.
But
But
here's what. But here's where I want to go back to this here for a second because this is what I find interesting about this. Is I know RPD. Right? I've known him a long time. In fact, I actually know him from when he was a boxer. In fact, actually, Sportswire Radio. We started out. The person that ran Sportswire Radio before I did was actually a boxing promoter. So I know about his background because I've covered his career, obviously, as a fighter. So, what I find so interesting about this situation is that actually the natural born fighter RP Davis on Twitter actually didn't even really comment. All his comment and reaction was, I love wrestling. Usually he says something here that would be along the lines of why he did something or why he felt about something. So is it almost as if he's hiding something, or is it that he's just dismissing what happened between you and him? I mean, walk me through your thoughts to that reaction of his post.
again, yeah, just quite disappointed. Like I thought me and him had a good rapport. Um, So to see the way he reacted and just dismissed the whole thing as if it was just a minor incident, like, dude broke my heart. And I'm sitting here just like thinking, why did he do that? I mean, as I said, maybe it was an honest mistake. Maybe, he'd been in there for, I think he was in the rumble for a good half an hour. So
Yeah, I remember we spoke about this with him, and this was something we knew that he was going to be a part of for quite a while, for sure.
Yeah, so maybe he was a bit tired, and he was just, he had a game plan, and he just wanted to get people out. He didn't have time for any, you know, for any of his friends. And I've said it before, business before friends. So maybe that was it. Maybe he was thinking past that. But I'm still disappointed, man. It gets me upset talking about it, to be honest.
I don't blame you, because you know what? You're watching the video, you're dancing, you're having fun. You come into this Rumble, and all of a sudden you see RPD, and you put the glasses on, and it seems like, all right, just maybe you and him are gonna all of a sudden be the new friendship. It could be the new born ready. It could be chocolate ready or born chocolate, whatever you want to particular call it. I mean, and then all of a sudden you're out of there. I mean, you're pretty much out of there like 1, 2, 3. I mean, you lasted, I don't know, what, 20-something seconds, 30 seconds? I mean, this was unfortunate. I mean, I almost have to ask you then. I mean, is there anything in particular that you want to say directly to the natural born fighter, RP Davis? I'm going to give you the floor, Chocolate Thunder, and I'm going to give you the floor in the ability to address RPD and to address what went down here, and certainly the betrayal heard around the world this past weekend at Wrestle Island.
I mean, RP, I don't know what I did. I don't know what I said. Maybe I upset you with the way I just approached you and put my glasses on you. I'm just really upset, man.
Did you ever get him mad at catering? Did you ever say something in the locker room? Was there anything you ever did in particular? Did you look at RPD the wrong way? Did you comment on somewhere? I mean, anything that you can recall or rack your brain from in the past? Anything that you might have said?
I mean, he's a serious kind of guy. Like, to my knowledge, I've never upset him. As I said, we've always been friendly with each other backstage. I don't know. My mind's still trying to think.
Is it your association with the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera that has had him upset? Maybe they have a history.
Possibly, but from what I know, they get on they have a sort of rapport as well. So I'm hoping it was just an honest mistake. Blood rush to the head. I just got to win this Rumble.
Do you think Do you think that he maybe mistaked you for somebody else, or do you think that maybe was he jealous of your dance moves? You think maybe was he jealous of the facial hair?
I mean, when I saw those hips moving in that video, I was like, dude, I'd be jealous as well. I mean, those are some moves. That's like if you ask me what the best thing I've ever done in wrestling is, it's that. Those hips.
Well, I can tell you, certainly, as a white man, I have 2 left feet. I always like to joke with everybody. I have 2 left feet. I always like to joke with people. They always ask me, well, how kind can you move? I'm like, I'm a white guy with 2 left feet is my joke. I mean, in school, I remember being a kid, they would have in the gym open. We didn't have many of the dances, but I was always made sure to stand out in the corner to make sure I would kind of not be shown for that. So clearly, maybe that was RPD. I don't know, but certainly it seems like that's what went down, unfortunately, and that's why you didn't get a fair shake at winning that Rumble.
No. As I said, it was a great opportunity as well. Right near the end, fresh legs coming on right towards the end of the Rumble.
And you gotta be feeling real good, because number 28, like I said, let's go back to this here for a few minutes. Being 28 in a Rumble, the law of logics, I think it's 26 or 27. Usually they say, in the WWE Royal Rumble, that's the sweet spot. But 28's right there. Listen, I would take my chances, frankly, 10 out of 10 times. If somebody says to me, you know what? I'm going to be in a 30-person Rumble, and I'm going to be number 28. Chocolate Thunder, I got to be feeling great. I got to feel like, you know what? Some other participants are going to be in there 30, 40 minutes, who knows how long, right? And 28, I mean, I think I got this.
Absolutely. I fancy my chances. I mean, I didn't find out till I got to the building, like what number I would be.
Sure.
And when they said 28, I was like, wow, okay. This is like a real opportunity for me. And I've never run a Rumble or a Battle Royale, never in my career. And I was
So
just
you
dead
had
set
no way
on,
to prepare and prep for this then. Correct me if I'm wrong.
not really, no, but it's always
And
been something in the
RPD
back
has
of my
been in
mind.
Rumbles before. I know that he has been in a few. And in fact, he was in one very recently this year, not too long ago. So he might have had the whereabouts and the experience. Maybe to use a boxing term, and I can't believe I'm going back to boxing, but there's an old expression that he rope-a-doped you. Basically, maybe he goaded you into putting those glasses on him, thinking that maybe you and him are going to be the new team. Like I said, Born Chocolate or Chocolate Ready, whatever you want to call it. And then, boom, he dropped you.
Yeah, he might get me your carrot and the stick routine. Maybe he did. Maybe that's actually a good point. Maybe I underestimated him. Maybe he outsmarted me. And
Oh, listen, boxers, listen, you got to remember, and I know you're not a boxer, and this has been something that's been talked about. The Ronan Bryan Anderson, we've had this issue with him before in his time with RPD. But, boxers sometimes, they think differently. They're like cold-blooded killers. Remember, boxers, they have to play mind games. If you're in a 10-round fight, an 8-round fight, a 12-round fight even, you have to think about ways to almost prepare. It's like being for battle. So maybe he had that mindset. It's unfortunate with what happened with you. And I'm going to promise you this, Chocolate Thunder, because I know that the natural born fighter, RP Davis, is going to come back to Sportswire Radio. I promise you that because he is going to be for sure involved in some big matches that we're going to be promoting here over the next several weeks. And I'll ask him directly about what happened between you and him. I promise you that I will definitely ask him that question. And I promise everybody here on Sportswire Radio, you should most certainly be following Chocolate Thunder on Instagram and Twitter. That's CHOCCY_Thunder. Very simple. It's straightforward. All you need to do is follow this guy because look at this guy. Clearly, he's going places. And I almost got to ask you before I get to the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera because I have the mutton chop, so I don't quite have what you have. But
I
I
dig
got to
those,
say,
man.
what's that?
I dig your mutton chops, man.
Oh, and I was gonna say, I mean, how did you pull off what you've got? Because I mean, I at least have to shave this here. You got that. I mean, I gotta say, I mean, that's a little bit more difficult even than what I have.
Oh, it takes a lot of maintenance. Trust me. Like the beard oil. I got to comb it regularly. But yeah,
I don't even do that. I don't do that.
Oh no, dude, I love yours though. I love those mutton chops, man. They look awesome. But yeah, I've been growing this for a few years now, and there's been
About
times
same
I've
for me.
trimmed it.
2000, about 3.5 years. 3.5 years.
Yeah, that's about the same for me. Like I think during around about COVID, I just decided, I'm just not going to trim it. I'm just going to shave the bits here and here, and it looks damn good. So I made the right decision.
Well,
And
you definitely have. No, you definitely have here, and you definitely have done reasons why we want to continue to follow him. So I got to bring him up again, Lance Rivera, the Playboy Prince, because I've had him on, because obviously he has been the talk of the pro wrestling world here. And it appeared that not only you could have very well been the Wrestle Island Rumble winner, but it seemed as if that he was going to be the Wrestle Island World Champion, which we had spoke about this here, that he was going to be in action for that championship there, the 2 times we had him on the air. So I have to ask you, for everybody that's on Sportswire Radio watching and listening to this, because you're pretty much going to be the first person that's going to comment on this live on air for video or certainly for radio purposes, which is obviously a big feat to have you here. I mean, Chocolate Thunder, you've got to talk to me about what happened and everything, how it went down between Lance Rivera and that Wrestle Island World Championship.
Yeah, so I was backstage when everything went down. I was watching. Obviously, Lance is my boy, and I wanted to be backstage because I had a really good feeling going into the match. I was like, this is going to be his time. He's going to do it. And yeah, he obviously was supposed to wrestle Warren Banks for the Wrestle Island Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Warren had to pull out due to injury the night before, so they found a replacement in Joey Hayes,
Oh, we
who's
know Joey Hayes very
a
well.
tremendous wrestler,
Yep.
and it was a great contest back and forth. But Lance just stole it in the end, and he won the title, which Warren had vacated. And the crowd went crazy, and everyone got behind him. Like there were people cheering, there were kids like asking for high fives, and it was a great, great moment. And I got a little emotional. I got to say, I was just so proud. And then out of nowhere, Hustle Malone, who had a power up briefcase to cash in a title shot whenever he wanted, jumped in from behind, cashed his title shot in, and won the title. And I guess he's well within his rights to do that. He didn't do anything illegal, but it was just heartbreaking, and I really feel for Lance because I know how much obviously we speak a lot, and I know how much he's wanted to win that Wrestle Island title, how much it means to him. So to see him lose it, win it, and lose it the way he did in like at a blink of an eye, it was just really, really heartbreaking.
So I guess you haven't been in that situation, and frankly, very few wrestlers are in that kind of situation. I mean, there are a few here and there. I mean, The Miz last year obviously sort of had that situation where he cashed in the briefcase on Drew McIntyre, but he got a day's reign out of it. Yokozuna's obviously one of the more famous ones, WrestleMania 9. He's the champion. I mean, there's been other instances where you've seen back in history where you see a champion for a brief period. I think Daniel Bryan might have been in one of those. I mean, so
Yep.
it does happen from time to time, but I mean, like, do you sell it? I mean, you're champion for, what was he champion for? A few minutes? I mean, do you how do you reflect on? I mean, I don't even want to speculate. I mean, I don't know how much you've spoken to Lance since then, but I mean, how do you? Well, okay, so let's put it in a better way. If you're in those shoes, how are you feeling right now?
Obviously dejected that I've worked so hard to get this opportunity. I've got the opportunity. I've fulfilled it. I've taken it, and then it's been taken out of my hands. I would be disappointed, but speaking to Lance afterwards, it's just gave him more of a hunger than ever. He's determined to win that title again. I'm sure he's got a plan on how to do it, and he's got the fans behind him now. Like they cheered him, which usually they don't, but
No,
the
I
fans
know.
really
I'm
got
aware.
behind him. Yeah, and I'm sure, as you say, Lance is the always positive kind of guy, always confident. I'm sure he's going to bounce back from this and finally get that title, and prove why he's one of the biggest names in British wrestling.
Oh, listen, that's between what you and him have done over the past several months. There's no question that the two of you are going to have gold here. But obviously, this is such an interesting thing because Wrestle Island is a company that's really one of the top companies around in the UK. So I guess in a sense, you talk about the positives. You have to almost, I guess, still look at it as a positive in the fact that you can still say, "Hey, I was a world champion." I never forget who said this. But what stuck out most to me that one of the wrestlers interviewed about this had said, "Well, I had been a world champion. Even if you were a world champion for like a minute, you still are a world champion." So I guess the one positive you would say from this situation is that the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera was still the Wrestle Island world champion. He was still a world champion. I mean, how many people can go about and say, I was a world champion? So I guess that would be the one positive you would look at it from.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, you've set that objective, you've set that goal, and you've achieved that goal. No one can take that away from you. No one can say, well, you didn't do it, because you did. It was just one of those instances where someone's obviously taken advantage of you in a vulnerable situation and taken their shot as well. because this is it. Everyone's got the same goal in mind. Everyone wants to be a champion, and the moment you get that title, you've got a target on your back, no matter where and when. And this is an unfortunate case of that being true. Like Lance, obviously enjoying celebrating that title, and then out of the blue, out comes Malone, cashes in and wins the belt. It's, as I said, it was heartbreaking, but I'm sure Lance will understand as well that this is how the business is. You've got to be on your guard at all times, but I'm sure he'll be back 100%. He'll be back stronger than ever.
Oh, I have no doubt that the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera would be, but almost in a sense, I mean, what he really couldn't have had himself on guard. He just wrestled a match with Joey Hayes, beats Joey Hayes. He's the world champion. I mean, I don't know. Could he have really done anything differently? Probably not, right? I would assume. What do you think?
Yeah, I suppose so. It's just disappointing. It's just really, I just really felt for him. Like I spoke to him in the back after it all happened. I was like, I don't know what to say to you, man. I'm just gutted that it happened like this, and that was how you lost the belt.
I mean, it looks like. Listen, I mean, you're celebrating. You have this special moment, and then next thing you know, I mean, Hustle Malone's got that briefcase, right? And he hits him from the back. I mean,
yeah.
I don't really know what could he have done. What could he have done differently?
No, I don't think he could have done anything differently. It's just one of those things, like, but Lance is Lance. He's always going to look at it from a glass half full kind of perspective.
I mean, look, I mean, he was a world champion.
He achieved what he wanted to achieve, and there's no reason why he can't do it again, because he's already done it. So what's to say that he can't go out there and climb the ladder and do it all over again?
Listen, take a step back. You were still a world champion, even if you were a world champion for a minute or 2 minutes. You were still the world champion, and I have no doubt that not only the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera is going to get back at the top of the mountain in Wrestle Island, he's going to get back at the top of the mountain in Phenomenal Elite Wrestling with our guest here right now. That is Chocolate Thunder. Again, one of the premier pro wrestling stars here around. Excited about his work in many companies, FTGU, Phenomenal Elite Wrestling, Wrestle Island, many, many more of the companies here in the UK. We've got another about 20 or so minutes with him, so very, very honored to have had him here. I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager here at Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. And if you are in America watching or listening to this, I certainly want to wish you a very, very happy Memorial Day. I want to thank those who have given us the opportunity to do that. We have a lot of people who've tuned in here the past 2.5 hours here throughout the U.S., so I want to thank them for their support. And, of course, thank everybody here in the UK that has stayed up late with us. We will be back here Friday night, most likely, with the LWF group of the Wildfire Nate Reese and the Asset Stephen Cross. So excited to be talking with them on all things related here to the LWF. We'll also be back Wednesday night, 9 p.m. British Standard Time, with up-and-coming pro wrestling star from GT Ministries and also Nonstop Action Wrestling. That is Gung Ho Muttley. Gung Ho Muttley, a lot to get into with him also. So very, very excited to be back with Gung Ho Muttley. So a lot to look forward to here. We'll also be back, like I said, Friday night, and we're speaking all things related to the world of professional wrestling with Chocolate Thunder. So I want to ask you then, Chocolate Thunder, we spoke a lot about RPD with you in Wrestle Island. So where do we go from here with you in Wrestle Island?
Well, who knows? I mean, all I know is I've had 3 or 4 matches there. Enjoyed it every time. The fans seem to like me, which a lot of the time the fans usually boo me. But the guys up there are pretty hip and cool. So
why would they boo you with that mugshot? Why would they boo you? What's wrong?
I guess some people just look at me and go, "I wish I was that guy. How come he can? How can he pull off a purple fur jacket and I can't?" It's genetics. That's all it is. It's genetics.
He's triple vaxxed. He's double boosted. He's a 21st century visionary. What's wrong with Chocolate Thunder? And his name's Chocolate Thunder. I don't know what's not to like about you. I don't know what's not to like about you. That's my opinion. But what do I know?
Maybe they're jealous. I'll steal their wives or girlfriends. I don't know.
Well,
But
you probably would. I mean, well, look at you and look at them. I mean, so yeah, probably. I probably say I agree with you on that. So yeah, I mean, obviously, you know it, I know it, and deep down they know it. So that's probably why that's the case here.
yeah, it's not my fault. I mean, I'm just being me. But to go back to your question about Wrestle Island, yeah, I'm hoping to get more opportunities there. Not had a not had a lot of time to show the people what I'm about, just a few fleeting moments. So hopefully I get more of more opportunities to show more of what I can do and what I'm about. I've got a lot more to offer than just killer fashion sense, and a strikingly good beard and uh, Greek godlike body. There's more to me of me to show to the people. So yeah, I'm just looking for more opportunities and to show the people at Wrestle Island and the people of British wrestling like what Chocolate Thunder is about and who he is and how talented a man he is.
No question that we will certainly see you for sure much more in Wrestle Island and Phenomenal Elite Wrestling. But I want to ask you, where else can we see you in the ring upcoming over the next few weeks? I'm sure June is going to be a busy month here once again in the UK. I know that you're going to be, I'm sure, booked in some places. So where else can we see you upcoming in the future?
Yeah, so I'll go look through my diary. So I've got a show coming up for FTGU on the 19th of June.
Okay.
So that'll be coming up soon. Yeah, that's at Wigston, which is our hometown, where we get the biggest crowds and also the loudest crowds. So that's coming up soon. I have also got a show for another show for FTGU in July as well, 2 weeks after that. On the 2nd of July, and another show for PEW on the 30th of July as well. So I think that'll be when me and Lance obviously team up and
I ain't too far away
air,
from now.
air our grievances with certain things. But yeah, those are my most recent upcoming shows. So if you're in and around the area or you want to know more, drop me a message on social media, and I could put you in the direction of buying a ticket, and hope to see you there.
I wanted to ask you before I get to closing thoughts and a few other things before we get out of here. And obviously, you're here with Pro Wrestling Star here, Chocolate Thunder. I wanted to talk about the FTGU School of Wrestling very quickly. I know we touched upon FTGU and the company itself in terms of what's that meant to you, but the company runs the school that they have, and it's a 6-day-a-week school, and it basically has experience that's really top notch. I mean, and I'm not just saying because I deal with companies all the time, and some of them have academies, some of them do not. But you guys really have a top notch where it's 6 days a week. You can come in. We have experience with US, obviously, all throughout UK in terms of wrestling experience. I mean, what does the School of Wrestling at the Academy from FTTGU mean to you personally?
It means so much, as I said. It's where I learned everything I know now. And obviously where the character Chocolate Thunder came from. And there's so many guys and girls there who are extremely talented, and I've been onto other promotions as well. Just to name drop a few names, Jack Stars, who's in NXT UK. He trained with us, and he sometimes comes down and runs classes there. We've also got other guys who are supremely talented, like you talked about Phenomenal Elite Wrestling. Their internet champion H Hood also trains there. Another
We
great guy
mentioned
and
him a
amazing.
little while ago, if you recall. We mentioned him quite a bit.
Yes,
His
we did.
champion.
Yeah, and he's an amazing talent as well. The Invisible Man, who also was on a Phenomenal Elite show, on the pre-show, I believe. So many other guys and girls who've got so much talent, and FTGU gives them that platform to go and sort of develop these characters, and it's so rewarding to see these people come in from like a complete beginner level to like going out on shows and performing in front of people. And they're people who like lack the confidence, and you can see it at the start, but then they slowly build it, and you're kind of like, wow, this is like, it's like watching a butterfly come out of a cocoon. I know it's a weird way of like explaining it, but it's a really good feeling. Like every now and again, I sometimes try and
Okay.
teach the
What's
students
that
there
like
as
for
well.
you then? What's that be all of a sudden the transition to go from being somebody that, started wrestling, 4 or 5 years ago to all of a sudden now where you're actually giving back?
I enjoy it. I don't know if I'm the best teacher. I don't know. I'm really self-critical, but I try and pass on like bits of knowledge that will help like other people. It might even be the smallest thing, like just a critique on a weight, like on like a posture or something like that. Um, I think I'm good. Like the guys seem to value like the stuff I'm teaching them. But yeah, I enjoy it. It's quite nice to pass on knowledge and to other people.
That's definitely a pretty cool thing. I mean, listen, I'm sure you're still a better teacher than I would. And I wanted to ask you because you did bring up Jack Stars very quickly, and obviously we know him very well. Being pro wrestling fans, I mean, do you get a chance to speak with him? Do you get a chance to share or maybe get any advice from him in terms of your career? Because when you have different people, whether it's a James Drake or a Pete Dunne before the name change, or a Chris Ridgway, where you get these wrestlers that they're from our little scene here and they go out and do these really cool things where people get to see them. Even guys like Synergy, for example, being on WWE
Yeah.
Network. But with the Jack Stars, I mean, do you get any advice from him? Do you get a chance to speak with him maybe about some of his experiences that maybe could help you in terms of where you'd like to go?
Yeah, like I've spoke to Jack a fair few times. Like I say, he does do classes every now and again at the school. I've also had a match with him at one of the FTGU shows. Learned a hell of a lot, even in that single match, just to sort of about psychology and just like just basic things that I could pick up from and use for me and to help me get better. Um, and he's always got great advice as well. Like he's always got something to share and tell like how they do things like in other promotions like NXT UK and like going forward.
I always feel like that when you have somebody that's been in that situation or that position, it's almost like RPD used to use the word. I hate going back to RPD, but RPD would speak with through email quite a bit William Regal, and they had some sort of a
Yes.
relationship going back to when RPD was a boxer, and he would talk with us and talk about the conversations that he would have. And then I think Rick Marcus, when we had Rick on, had actually mentioned that like RPD would always ask questions, and there was one time like I think it was Chris Brooker had one of these sessions, and William Regal might have actually been on it, and it was like RPD was just asking question after question. So I always find it so curious when you have somebody that you not grow up with, but and they go out and have the kind of success that he has had in terms of how you would apply it to what you'd like to do, and which kind of transitions me here before I get to closing thoughts. I mean, what are your goals here for 2022 for the rest of it when it comes to pro wrestling?
Just to work for more promotions and get myself out there. I felt like before COVID hit, I was starting to gain some momentum, and people were starting to notice me, and see who I was and who I am and what I'm about. And then obviously COVID hit, and wrestling just got to a standstill.
Oh, it was
So
terrible, terrible,
yeah,
terrible.
yeah, and it was just like I felt like I was starting from square one again. But people take some promotions took a chance on me just from watching footage of me, like Wrestle Island. Literally, I just sent them some footage of me wrestling, and they gave me a shot. There are other promotions as well, like PCW and PW4U, who have given me a shot just by seeing my footage and seeing like who Chocolate Thunder is and what he's about. Yeah, just to work for as many promotions as possible. Like I feel like I'm getting a lot of traction in the northwest of England, like obviously with Wrestle Island. I'd love to work for some more promotions around the northwest, like Catch Wrestling. You mentioned LWF.
Yes.
Yeah, Future Shock or TNT even. Those are some goals of mine to work for those promotions, and obviously others around the country. Um, I would just say in a short sentence to spread the word of Chocolate Thunder. to spread the lightning, I would say. Lightning everywhere, chocolate and lightning everywhere.
Hey, listen, who can go wrong with that? Listen, right now we're getting into summer, right? We're almost like the unofficial start of summer here around the world, and especially in the U.S. And the fact that, listen, you're going to have thunder and lightning, right? Because lightning, obviously, rain, and summer, which brings us rainbows, right? When anytime you have a storm, you bring a rainbow afterwards. And people always love chocolate, right? Chocolate is universal, right? So you can't go wrong with what this guy has to offer. He's a premier up-and-coming pro wrestling star. He tags teams with our very good friend Lance Rivera. There is no reasons why you shouldn't be following him on certainly Instagram and Twitter at CHOCCY_Thunder. I want to ask you this last question here before I get to closing thoughts. And it's been a tremendous honor to have you. And I look forward to having you on here much more in the future. And I really enjoyed our time, and it actually went more quickly than I expected. Sometimes you do these and it's just like, but the time just flew. Time flies when you're having fun. But I want to ask you, and I know it's a tough question, but is there one or two moments so far in your career that stand out most so far? And please don't tell me RPD throwing you out of the Rumble yesterday, because there has to be something better than that.
Yeah, yeah, there has been some standout moments. Obviously, winning the tag team titles for at FTGU Wrestling, especially as I wasn't that far into my career when I'd won them. So it was a big honor to be given that responsibility by my trainer and promoter. I would say debuting for Wrestle Island as well, just because it was one of those promotions that I really wanted to work for. Like, I dig the vibe. They're all about storyline and characters, and I just felt that, my character would fit in really well there. So that was another like achievement of mine. And also, like I mentioned earlier, just wrestling Jack Stars, just someone who's been on like the WWE network was like massive for me. So yeah, there's been some really bright spots for me over this past year, and hopefully, fingers crossed, there'll be even more coming up in the future.
Well, something tells me here, ladies and gentlemen, that there'll definitely be more moments like this and even better ones, because something tells me here Chocolate Thunder is a star that you are definitely going to want to find. He is definitely going to shine. And we are definitely looking forward to the future here of pro wrestling, especially for FTGU, especially Wrestle Island, despite with what happened to Chocolate Thunder and also the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera. And sorry for the sneeze, because, well, I had to sneeze. Thank you very much. But obviously, we're going to bless Chocolate Thunder, because Chocolate Thunder is definitely going to be a guy we're going to see in many, many more territories. And I couldn't agree more. The LWF, you would make a perfect component to the LWF. You would fit in very nicely in the LWF. I think the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera has wrestled in the LWF, I believe, once, I want to say, maybe. I feel like
recently. I think it was last weekend.
I think he was there in certainly in the LWF. So I feel like that would be a natural fit for Chocolate Thunder, because, well, if Lance Rivera's been there, why can't Chocolate Thunder be there? But definitely, I think of other companies, KOW, I think he'd be very good for. Odyssey, I can't forget about Odyssey, because obviously Lance is a big part of Odyssey. You would make an excellent fit for Odyssey. I think there's many other companies. I could think of BWR. I think he'd be a good fit for. BWR is another company that I think you'd fit right in nicely with Scotty Rock and Tuba. I think there'd be some great matches there. So there's a lot of great companies I could think of that I would see. I mean, even some little ones, Blackheart Wrestling, and certainly Nonstop Action Wrestling, new companies. So those are some companies I think you fit in a long way. But a lot to get into here. We are very honored to have had on Chocolate Thunder. So I'm going to give you the floor here, because I know you're a busy man. You're getting ready for a ladies' night somewhere. You're getting ready for training sessions. You're getting ready to go back and do different things. So I want to give you the floor. I want to give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you want to plug, share. And I can't thank you enough for this opportunity. So, Chance, I want to give you the floor. And I can't thank you enough. And fire away.
Well, thank you, Tom, for giving me the platform tonight. And thank you for having me on your show. I've really enjoyed it. As you said, if you could follow me on Instagram and Twitter, that would be great. Chocky_Thunder. My handles on both of those platforms. Also, as I said, I'm repping the hoodie. FTGU School of Wrestling. We're on Facebook. If you search that on Facebook and you're looking for a place to train or learn to wrestle, and you're in the East Midlands area of the UK, send us a message. Come down to our school. we've got some great coaches there who've got years of experience, and they got me to where I am now. So that's just testament to like how great they are and just how talented they are. Also, sorry, I know I'm not. You gave me the floor, and I'm taking like a whole building now.
No, I've had people on before when they do closing thoughts. I never forget, and I'll make you feel so much better. I remember having on a guest, and he used like a 7-minute soliloquy on like he was just going on. I mean, so no, you'd be surprised. I've interviewed all types of people. There are some people that are just like, I'm done. And there are other people I've had that'll go like 7 minutes and just like rant. So no, trust me, this is completely normal.
Okay. That makes me feel better. Thank you. And yeah, just a few guys you should look out for. H. Hood, as I mentioned before, the Invisible Man, Ilano Stone, another really young, talented, like high flyer. Ronnie Knox, one of the female wrestlers in the UK, fantastic worker. And there's a bunch of other guys whose names escape me. Jim Diehard, one of the best heavyweights in the UK. Again, so many people whose names escape me, but that's the British wrestling in a nutshell. So much talent that people might have never heard of.
The scene, I know you spoke about COVID before, but I think the scene is as strong as it's ever been. Yes. And there's so many great wrestlers. I mean, that's why people ask me all the time. They say, well, what'd you think about AEW and WWE? And I say, no, I want to know what's going on in Wrestle Island. I want to know what's going on in Phenomenal Elite Wrestling, PEW. I want to know what's going on in BWR. I want to know what's going on in KOW, Odyssey, the LWF. That to me where it's at. That's to me where all the stuff happens, Progress, and certainly Catch you mentioned. I mean, there's just so many companies, so many territories that I really am so excited to speak about. That's where it's at. So to me, the territories still live, and they're thriving in the UK. And certainly FTGU is now a part of that. UKW also, I have to mention UKW. A lot of great companies out there. Chocolate Thunder is going to be a name I got a feeling we're going to be hearing about for the near and distant future, about many, many great things ahead. And you can follow him one more time, CHOCCY_Thunder on Twitter and Instagram. So make sure you do that, because again, he's a guy that we're going to have on. We're going to get to the bottom of what happened there with RPD, that we will get at that Rumble. I promise you, we will get to the bottom of that.
I'll be watching intently when you have him on.
I know you will. Listen, and we'll make sure that clip gets posted on Instagram and Twitter, and we're going to have him on probably in about 2 weeks or so. So we're going to definitely get to the bottom of that with RPD.
Put that in my diary now.
Yep, but about 2 weeks, right around this time, 2 weeks from now. So definitely today is the 30th. So figure right around the 13th or the 14th, he'll be coming back. In fact, I'm going to announce it on the air. RPD is coming back, and he'll come back. Trust me. He's been on. I lost count, so we'll ask him. I promise you that. So, all right, my friend. Obviously, it's been a tremendous honor. Congratulations on all the success. I'm definitely looking forward to big things from you, and looking forward to speaking with you here maybe after the PEW shows, and many, many more things ahead from you.
Thank you for having me, Tom. And yeah, I'd love to be back on whenever you feel like.
Well, we'll bring you back. Trust me. Right now, I know Lance Rivera is in high demand, and he's got to worry about all his stuff. But I'll be happy to bring you on anytime. So I think Lance might be main event now, but I want the real main eventer in Chocolate Thunder. So I go with the real main eventer. So Chocolate Thunder is definitely my guy, and we love Lance, but we'll definitely take what we can get. But my friend, we are here on the Sports Report, the number one Rebel Sports Show, with pro wrestling star here from FTGU, Wrestle Island, and PEW. That is Chocolate Thunder, the 21st century visionary pro wrestling star who's going to bring you the thunder and lightning to a wrestling company near you. As I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. If you're on sportnarium.com/play, you'll have brand new content that'll come on here shortly. If you're on all of our platforms watching on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and Northeast Streaming Sports Channel, I'll be back here Wednesday night, 9 p.m. British Standard Time, with pro wrestling star from Blackheart Wrestling, GTM, and also Nonstop Action Wrestling. That is Gung Ho Muttley. So a lot to get into with Gung Ho Muttley. We'll also be back Friday with the LWF's Wildfire Nate Reese and the Acid Stephen Cross. So thank you, everybody, for watching and listening here on Sportswire Radio. We were with Chocolate Thunder Pro Wrestling Star. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at CHOCCY_Thunder. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Good afternoon if you're elsewhere, and we'll be back Wednesday night.